Week one of the Dubai World Cup Carnival is upon us. I'm Joe Christofek, your preview show host, joined by the incomparable Pat Cummings, and we'll let him talk in just a moment. But first, I want to take you inside the world of Pat Cummings. A couple of days ago on Instant Messenger, I'm going to read this verbatim. This is exactly what he said to me. I'll tell you what. I've had trouble sleeping the last 2 nights because I am so excited about this carnival. Now, like a 6-year-old on Christmas morning, Pat could not wait to get up. Couldn't wait until sunrise. 3 o'clock in the morning is when he's emailing me the PPs for Dubai World Cup Carnival Week 1. Pat Cummings does the morning line. He was digging into those past performances long before the Rooster was doing his thing. Pat, Week 1, Dubai World Cup Carnival. Did it meet your expectations, buddy?
I don't think it met my expectations. I think it needed to meet a lot of other people's expectations who thought that for some reason that the dirt track was not going to draw people, draw attention, draw competitive fields. Guess what? I think the dirt races are probably the most competitive races on this card. Fascinating elements, a lot of dirt pedigrees to get into. I think it's going to be a phenomenal night, and it did exceed my expectations. The excitement level is there, and I'm ready for it.
And these videos are sponsored by AmwesEntertainment.com. Pat, the all-new comprehensive can be linked to from there, but also at DubaiRaceNight.com, where it's in a new and improved form. We did a preview video of the entire carnival. You can learn more about the comprehensive and some angles to watch by watching that video. This video is going to be specific about Week 1, but also at AmwesEntertainment.com, free carnival past performances, track his stats and charts, of course. Pat's detailed analysis along with streaming video at AmwesEntertainment.com, and their partner website, Amwager.com, definitely one you want to look into, Pat.
Absolutely. Phenomenal betting platform, great rebates for players. Absolutely love it. I've used it for a couple of years now, and really am a big fan of the platform.
Dubai World Cup Carnival Week 1, Thursday, January 8th. Post time for the first thoroughbred race will be 10:20 a.m. Eastern Time. 6 thoroughbred races, headlined by race number 6, the $250,000 Al Maktoum Challenge. That race goes 1,600 meters on the dirt. Pat, we're going to spotlight a few races on the program, starting with race number 2, the Longines Prima Luna. This is a handicap, US dollars, 110 grand. This race is 1,900 meters on the dirt. And you talk about these dirt races and how wide open they are. We have a 7-2 morning line favorite, the 7-year-old gelding Farrier.
Yeah, and Farrier, a half-brother to Pyro, a Louisiana Derby winner, and I believe he also won, either it was the Forgo up at Saratoga. Farrier, 7-2. He's very consistent. He just doesn't win all that often, and I think that's a bit of a problem in backing Farrier in this particular spot.
He's Pyro's brother. What would you expect?
Yeah, there you go. We also have a few horses that have some fabulous dirt pedigrees in here, Joe. Number 6, Dragon Falls for Godolphin. He's by Distorted Humor out of a full sibling to American champion Tiz Now. That mare, Tiz Dubai, also by C's Tizzy, as was Tiz Now. Tiz Now, of course, a 2-time Breeders' Cup Classic winner. Dragon Falls will be making his 16th lifetime start, his first on dirt. And then number 11, Almoon Kith for Mike DeCock. He's getting technically his first start on dirt. He's by Dynaformer, but the mare, Bohemian Lady, is a half to Any Given Saturday, who was a winner of the Haskell. So you're going to have these pedigrees that have a lot of dirt in them that haven't ever gotten on the dirt. There's more of them to come today. That's going to be fascinating to look at. But there's one horse I really want to spotlight here, and that's number 7, Henry Clay. He's a Doug Watson trainee. Let's go back and take a look. He's already a winner at Meydan on this surface. He's had 3 starts this season, 2 seconds, and then this win from last time out. And, you know, he went to the lead. He never looked back. Pat Dobbs probably dilly-dallied around a little bit too much 2 starts back when he ran second behind a horse named Taha Ma, who came back and ran second behind Henry Clay on this occasion. That was over 2,000 meters. Today's race is over 1,900. That's going from 1.25 miles to 1 3/16 miles. I think that will help him here as well. But there's no one else in this race on paper that wants to go on with it. So that's why I think Farrier has a tactical edge in this race. Henry Clay has a tactical edge in this race. I went with Henry Clay over Farrier.
A little bit later on in the video, Pat and I will provide our selections for each race. We're also going to do a $100 bankroll each week as well. So if you're looking for picks, just stay tuned to the video. We're going to spotlight race number 4 next. This is the Longines St. Amir $110,000 handicap. 7 furlongs, which equals 1,400 meters on the dirt track. And a very lukewarm favorite here, Pat. Challenge for you doing this job. 9-2 on Shai Shi. Bred in the United States and appears to have a little bit of an edge over most of these as far as the dirt form goes.
2 wins on the Maidan Dirt already this season. The last one was a good one, and they were solid wins. There's no question about it. But this is a wide-open field. Horses that are coming in, 3 local horses, actually, that have 6 wins combined so far this year. And the first I want to take a look at is number 13, Faulkner, just a third-time starter. He debuted a big winner at Jebel Ali, first up earlier this year, and then came back and ran at Maidan. And we got to watch this race, Joe. I called this the most impressive performance of the 5 race days that have been at Maidan so far this year. He comes from well off the pace in the stretch. He was under a ride for a long way, but that's how these jockeys seem to be riding this surface. They're getting into their horses a long way out. It's not exactly the way you would see American jockeys, or at least American-based jockeys, ride this surface. But Faulkner comes from well out of it to win and gets up on the line and goes away and wins by 2. That was 1,200 meters. Today will be 1,400. But also about this performance, it brings us to the trackist stat of the day. Faulkner covered the most ground when he did this too. So not only did he come from well off the pace, but he did it covering the widest trip. I think that's meaningful. I think this is a really good up-and-coming horse. Doug Watson's been excited about him. He's drawn in here, though, in gate 13. Pat Dobbs rides, carries 56.5 kilograms, so he's pretty well low in the handicap rating. Some others are higher. So Faulkner is one I'm definitely going to have in the mix. Now, a compelling horse, for maybe a different reason, is the horse number 12, Price's Truth. He's drawn on the rail. We're going to go back and watch his last race. He has had 2 absolutely dominant wins, and this last run at Maidan, I mean, he's just absolutely eased up to the line. You cannot win a race any easier. The problem is, Joe, this was in significantly lesser company. So I am a little concerned about what Price's Truth does. He was promoted off of this performance substantially, so I'm a little concerned about the quality of the competition that he faced then and has coming up now. So that's Price's Truth, number 12 for Richard Mullen, 12-1 on the morning line.
Pat, a question here, because when people look at these past performances, you talk about the ratings. See a lot of horses here with 90s into the low hundreds, and you talk about this horse taking a rise in class with the ratings of 63, 61, 60, 77 the last time. How can handicappers utilize those ratings? Is it a good starting point, so to speak?
The ratings that you can find at EmiratesRacing.com are designed to give you an idea of where they stand against every other horse. Price's Truth started this year as a maiden. He won a maiden race by more than a dozen lengths at Sharjah, which is very low-level company in the UAE. He then goes to Maidan and blows them away again. He was rated 77 at that point and promoted off that up to today's rating in the mid-90s.
Right, okay.
So that suggests that he's in line with a horse like Full Combat, number 11, who came out of South Africa 2 years ago, ran here at the Carnival last year. I just question, I think Faulkner's a better horse than Price's Truth. We'll see as this race plays out. We're going to get an early test of those ratings in this race. The horse I really want to look at, though, Joe, is number 10, Bannock. This is a horse trained by Ahmed bin Harmesh, and he ran last week. He ran on New Year's Eve, so not that long ago. Let's go back and take a look at this. What we don't see here is that he missed the start. So that already put him behind the 8 ball. And now on the stretch, he gets squeezed back a little bit in the stretch, tips outside, re-rallies under apprentice Louis Stewart, and gets up and runs a very good second. This is a horse that has clearly had some issues, hasn't been getting to the races all that frequently. So is there some concern that he's drawn in gate 14? Yes. Is there concern that he's wheeling back in 8 days? Some would suggest maybe. I actually think it's a good sign. I think it's a sign that he came out of that race really well, despite the tough trip. Atlantic Brave was the winner there. He's an old galloper. He's a 9-year-old now. I think Bannock is maybe the horse to take in a race that's wide open. I took Bannock 10-1, and I'm making him the Amwager value play of the day. I think you're still going to get a decent price on Bannock in a wide open race.
And Pat, that leads me into an obvious question here. In Carnival's past, when they were raced on the PETA surface, you would see a lot of horses come back in a week. A lot of horses race 3 times in 5 weeks. With the move back to dirt, I'm assuming we're not going to see that as often.
I don't know, Joe. We'll see. Horses that are based in the UAE year-round, they only can race from November basically to March. So there is a short window. And the fact that they're not on Lasix, they don't get dehydrated during or after races, so they don't lose as much weight maybe as an American-based thoroughbred would, and they typically come back. I've seen horses in the UAE come back off 1 or 2 days, racing back-to-back days. It's happened, and they've done it fairly successfully.
All right, well, let's move on to the 5th race. We're going to move from the dirt to the turf for this one. It is the Singsfield Stakes presented by Longines, $150,000 US dollars. We've got 1,800 meters, which equates to 9 furlongs. And, Pat, we've got an even money favorite here in Mushrak, but there are a couple of other horses that intrigue me, including number 2, True Story, who we may not have seen the best of just yet. This horse has raced against some solid competition already and may be able to take a jump forward in his 4-year-old season for Godolphin, but this race goes through Mushrak.
Yeah, he won this race last year, Joe. A race named after the second winner of the Dubai World Cup was Singspiel in 1997. Let's go back and take a look at this race from last year. Mushrak in the blue and white colors of Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Look, he just progresses very well to the lead here. He beats a half-decent field. The second-place finisher, Gabriel, came back and won a solid handicap just 2 weeks later, where he beat Sanshawis, who is also in this field. Sanshawis comes back and wins a couple races at the Carnival last year as well. So to me, that was good form for Mushrak to have won there. He was close to Vercingetorix in the Jebel Hatta, or at least close enough. It's just a listed race, Joe. In fact, there are horses that are in this race who aren't even eligible for Carnival handicaps because of low ratings. It's just kind of a weird breakdown of the way that the rules kind of come into play on that. I think Mushrak is the horse to beat. I made him the best bet of the day. Best bets can sometimes be a misnomer. He's probably the most likely winner of the day, in my opinion. He's even money. He's the shortest price on the day on the morning line. I like Mushrak. I agree with you, though. I think True Story is a potential up-and-comer. He has been gelded from last season. Saeed bin Saror has been very successful first off the layoff, 7 for 36 last year at the Carnival. First off the layoff, it was his most successful time to catch a Saeed bin Saror trainee. No arguments there from me. 9-2, second choice on the morning line.
Yeah, this horse last race in August, it almost seems like a horse that was rested up a little bit and primed for a run at the Carnival. So we'll see if True Story can make a move forward and perhaps take that next step in his career. Pat, race number 6 is the Al Maktoum Challenge. These are horses that potentially have some aspirations at the Dubai World Cup. $250,000. It's a Group 2 race. 8 furlongs, just a mile here on the dirt. We've got a 4-1 morning line favorite in Surfer, programmed as number 1, but also leaves from the rail some familiar names in this race, including Emirates Flyer, who had a very good Carnival last year. Take us through the Maktoum Challenge Round 1. This series is one of my favorites.
Yeah, the first of 3 rounds. The next will be at 1 mile and 3/16 or 1,900 meters. And then the last one on Super Saturday at 1 mile and a quarter. A real true final prep for the Dubai World Cup. But we get a field of 15 here. Surfer is the morning line favorite, and it comes with good reason. He is the winner of the best local prep for this race. That was the Dubai Creek Mile, raced here back on December 18th. Let's go back into the stretch and take a look at this. 4 of the top 6 finishers from that race are in the Maktoum Challenge. We have on the lead Ennobled Friend wearing those blue silks. He's number 4 today. Then Surfer's kind of just behind him in the yellow colors. We have Ha Thek, who's covering the widest trip, and then Grand Salute, who is drawn today in gate 11. We play out this race. Ennobled Friend went to the lead, and he actually had to carry more weight than Surfer did, which was a bit odd. Ennobled Friend goes to the lead, and he almost sees it out on the front end under Sylvester de Souza. Surfer runs him down. Maybe he was in some tight positions, kind of leaving the turn, but Surfer comes, runs him down, and Richard Mullen said after the race that this was one he really had to work for, but they thought he would come on for this. He's won that race now 2 years consecutively. He comes into this as the favorite. He's well drawn on the inside. I think it will be good to have a ground-saving trip, and there's speed in this race. There's no argument there. I picked Surfer here, Joe, but I'm not 100% confident. I thought Emirates Flyer was in with chances. Grand Salute probably needed that race. He's one of the South American shippers, a private purchase out of South America. He's come into this year. We've seen quite a few South Americans that are coming into Dubai this year and put in the Dubai Racing Comprehensive a good piece, I think, on how some of them do really well and some of them don't do well at all, and how to maybe approach that. So certainly take a look at that. We also have the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf winner, Outstrip, in this field. Out of a Dam Aussie Siempre, who was a multiple graded winner in America. She did that on the all-weather surface. Hafex and Old Stayer. Look, it's a very open field. Normally in those types of races, I will go for a long shot. I will take a price play, but I just didn't have confidence in any of them. I stuck with Surfer.
Yeah, Emirates Flyer is a horse that intrigues me. Just looking at his company lines with Safety Check, Long John, who was so good at the Carnival last year, Asmar when he freaked, and Emirates Flyer was a distant second behind him. Toast of New York, obviously the runner-up in the Breeders' Cup Classic for all people who follow almost strictly American racing. So some really good company lines. That post 12 is going to make things a little bit tougher on Emirates Flyer, though.
And speaking of pedigrees, number 10, Capital Attraction, really strong dirt pedigree there by Speightstown out of Cecilia's Crown. She's been a fairly successful dam as well, and Capital Attraction is a winner on dirt, but he's getting up in age. He might really need this run. Great race, highly competitive. Ennobled Friend goes to the front with maybe one or two others. Empire Storm should go forward, almost has to from that outside gate, I think. But I think it sets up well for Surfer here.
All right, well, we've covered some of the races in great detail, Pat. Now let's unveil your top selections and my top selections for the 6 thoroughbred races, Dubai World Cup Carnival Week 1.
Yeah, so I go with Henry Clay in that second race. The second race on the card is the first thoroughbred race. Hatoto in race 3 for me over Atug and Sir Maximilian. Atug and Hatoto went 1-2 in this race last year. I flipped them around. I think Atug probably has better things to come. But Hatoto for me first up. Bannock in the 4th. He's the value play of the day. In the last race, I went with Safety Check. You just mentioned him, Joe. You didn't pick him, but you mentioned him. I really like Safety Check in the last race in a wide-open turf handicap going 1,400 meters.
All right, so my selections differ a little bit from Pat's, but I really, it's a tough carnival. Every race day is when you're looking at these races. They're very competitive. I went Farrier, who I think is the most likely winner in race number 2, Atug, the most likely winner in race 3. If Pat wasn't on the other side of the country doing this video on Skype with me and he was sitting next to me, he'd probably slap me for picking Tamarcuz, because this
Why?
Horse, he's a whack job.
He is a whack job. He has issues.
He's a whack job.
He has issues, but he is incredibly well bred, Joe. It's worth noting that Tamarcuz's dam is a half to Stay Thirsty and Andromeda's Hero.
Yeah.
There's dirt all through that pedigree. I don't think you're off, and in fact, our colleague Mackenzie Kirkerhead, she is picking Tamarcuz as well, so you're in good company there.
Who knows what this horse is going to do, but if he's 8-1 on the morning line, I'm going to take a shot with Tamarcuz again. True Story is a horse that I think is an up-and-comer. We'll take that one in a slight upset. Emirates Flyer, and then pronounce that for me.
Iguazu Falls.
Iguazu Falls. Okay, so you made this horse 20-1. I looked at the company lines. They're very good. The horse has some pretty good form. Why not? That's a wide open race. A lot of very good horses within it. But if I can get that kind of price on this horse, I think he's got a decent chance to hit the board.
And my only talk against him is that he's just at the top of the handicap, so he's going to have to do it with the most weight on his back. I think that maybe goes against him. Yeah.
Very true. All right, Pat. Well, this is the moment I personally have been waiting for. Unveiling the final results from 2014 AmWest Bankroll Challenge. And as you can see by the results on your screen, and I will give you this, Pat, you took a lot more chances than me. A lot of pick threes, a lot of multi-race wagers, a lot of trifectas. Those are not easy to hit, but if you hit them, that bankroll is going to blow up. So kudos to you for stepping out on more of a limb than me. I played mostly win-and-place wagers. I had a couple nice prices along the way and was able to show a pretty solid profit. But, Pat, this is a new year, buddy.
It is a new year, Joe. You wouldn't use last year's newspaper to tell you what happened yesterday. And that's why we're going forward here. Let's take a look at my Bankroll Challenge. $100 we'll have to play with each week. In the second race, I'm going to key Henry Clay on top at an exact. I used 4 horses underneath him: Farrier, Dragon Falls, Le Bernardin, and Al Moon Kith. That's me there. Then 30 to win in place on the Bannock in the 4th race. He's the value play. I think the price will be right. And I'm also going to key him on top in a trifecta using 5 horses underneath him. That's my $100 for Thursday. How about you?
$100. I'm going to go with an exacta box in race number 5 using True Story on top. And maybe if we get Mushrek out of the money, there's a couple of other horses that I think might be able to run well in the 8 Shanshawis and the 9 Pelote. So we'll use those horses. I'll bet 10 to win on True Story. Maybe get 3, 4, 9 to 2 to 1, 3 or 4 to 1 or 9 to 2 on this one. Race number 6, we'll go with Emirates Flyer in a win and place format, and then with the long shot in race number 7, Iguazu Falls.
You got it, Joe.
5 to win, 15.
You'll remember his name if you cash.
Yeah, well, of course, I'll remember his name if he runs 10th, too, probably. Yeah. All right, you can follow Pat and I on Twitter, Dubai Race Nights, Trackus Racing, Joey Decay Racing. Pat, week 1 of the Carnival is upon us. We want to make sure that everyone tunes in. First thoroughbred race, 10:20 a.m. Eastern Time, and I get up every morning during the Carnival on Thursdays. I have my coffee. I ease my way into the day. What a great way to start your day if you're a racing fan on Thursdays. And, of course, Super Saturday and World Cup Day not that far away in March. So lots to look forward to before then.
And no matter where you're watching us from, Joe, I know we have a lot of viewers really around the world. We have folks down in South Africa,
right,
some in Hong Kong. You could be just ending your day in Hong Kong, getting ready for bed. You could be settling in after dinner in South Africa, or you just could be, like you said, getting up at some point here in the Americas. It's going to be a great run through the Carnival, and I think there's a little bit for everybody here. And at least if you're not going to have a bet, it's incredibly fun and exciting to watch.
And as you can see by my bankroll results of last year, don't be intimidated by the Carnival. If this is your first time diving into it, look at the past performances, watch the races race week to week, take trip notes, watch Pat and I's videos, look at the horses in the parade ring, and formulate wagers, at least to start, that are maybe a little bit on the conservative side, and then don't be afraid to step out once you got a handle on it. It is definitely a racing situation week to week that's worth following, and one that you can be very profitable at if you pay attention. For the incomparable one, Pat Cummings, I'm Joe Christofek. We'll join you again next week. Don't forget to check out our preview video in the comprehensive as well. Take care, everybody.